Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown,
the unofficial sumo podcast
for official sumo fans.
Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown. This is Ryan.
Jake.
This is Flerick.
And this is Mac.
And this is our midway episode for the Nagoya basho. We are through day 8. Some of us are reluctantly up this early to record the podcast, but we are all here for you. Isn't that right, Flerick?
I hate everyone.
We are interrupting Flerick's full night of sleep.
Valuable sleep time.
Started around 3 or 4 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Am I inaccurate, Flerick?
A little bit not as late, I would say.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, but it's also just not great. I'm a little bit sleepy right now. So
all right.
Okay,
but we're talking about some sumo, and I got some Red Bull, so I am
all right.
Cheers.
So as I mentioned, we are through day 8 of the Nagoya basho. So if you haven't watched day 8, probably best to turn this off and then watch it and then turn this back on. And then as you have turned it back on, you're going to see not much has really changed from day 7 to day 8. It's still Hakuho and Terunofuji alone at the top of the leaderboard, but now they have a 2-match buffer ahead of everybody else as opposed to the 1-match buffer, as a shock to no one, Koto Nowaka was not going to pressure for the Yusho this basho. But before we dive too deep into the actual results of the tournament so far, we do have our patrons to compliment. We do have a Patreon now. You can sign up at a $1 or $3 level. $1 gets you a compliment for every basho, and the $3 level, you can recommend a topic for us to discuss at some point on the podcast, and we are bloodbound to discuss that topic, so it will be done. We will make sure that it happens.
You keep throwing that term around. Do you understand what bloodbound means? I do not think it means what you think it means.
I don't know. We'll find out. So
Well,
let's dive right into the compliments. Mac, why don't you kick us off?
I can do that. Summer Hodson, the Yokozuna strive to be more like you.
Paul Simpson, when it comes to people, you are a Yokozuna.
I'm seeing a theme here. Anyways, Joe Hobbs, the depth of the ocean pales in comparison to the depths of your soul.
What's a mob to a king? What's a king to a god? What's a god to Emo Dingo?
I like that one. And to Grand Sumo Breakdown presents, John Gunning presents Grand Sumo Breakdown. I heard you beat LeBron James in a pickup game of basketball. That what you've been doing? Is that why you're no longer doing all the sumos? Come on, John.
That's why he's off of Twitter now. He's too busy beating LeBron James in pickup games of basketball.
And sponsoring our show.
And sponsoring the show.
All right. So let's talk more about the results of the first week of the tournament. Our Yusho race is pretty much just a 2-man race. I'd be shocked if anybody seriously got into contention the rest of the way out. It is Hakuho and Terunofuji, both at 8-0. And guys, I think it's just been such a nice thing to have Hakuho back. It just
absolutely. We're finally seeing a Yokozuna. We're seeing Yokozuna caliber sumo.
Not just Yokozuna, it's Hakuho Yokozuna. It's been a treat. It's been a treat.
I do think it's fair to point out that he doesn't look like. It's weird to say that he's kind of an unimpressive 8-0, but compared to old school prime of his athletic career, Hakuho, he's definitely taking a little bit longer to win the matches than you would normally expect from him. Obviously, he's still in the running here and probably the favorite to win, but it's almost like watching a really, really good mortal instead of Hakuho, you know?
Yeah, I would say he's not necessarily physically dominant this basho. He is just mentally dominant this basho. I think it's probably pretty clear that right leg is still bothering him. It is unclear at this point how much fluid has filled up the knee during the tournament. Hopefully he's kept that knee dry. I think that's how you want your knees to be.
Just towel it off after every match.
Yeah. And I don't think there's any match that exemplifies Hakuho's smarter sumo this basho, then the greatest match of all time, really. Hakuho versus Tobizaru.
Is it the greatest match of all
I
time?
was about to say, hold on.
Yeah. It was
how is it not? Explain to me how that isn't the best match ever, just from a pure sumo standpoint. Just brilliant.
Ryan,
There's
you
a
get
lot
out.
going
Ryan,
on.
you get out of here right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's a lot
I can't-
going on, but there was definitely like a lot of just kind of like, I don't know, like standing off, and Hakuho just kind of like, hey, come at me, brah. Come on.
What? Have you never seen somebody stand straight up in a sumo match, flat-footed?
Oh, we have seen it once before. It was exactly Hakuho, which is why I absolutely love it. Obviously, we're talking about the match versus Tobizaru, I believe on day 7, was it? I'm trying to remember when we super laughed about it.
It was yesterday.
Yeah. But no, yeah, it's there's a lot going on in that match. It started off with like Tobizaru just like standing way back on security sen.
Like 3 feet back.
Yeah. My guess is like, I really like that because he's making an adjustment and he's saying like, if a Hakuho gets like a hand on my belt, it's all over. So I'm just gonna like back way off and try to make this a pushing match, which I love seeing adjustments like that. Just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna have an obvious strategy coming into this battle, and like it starts off and it's just a lot of pushing and thrusting, and Hakuho is just being Hakuho, just like saying, hey, come on, come at me, like I'm not. I'm a Yokozuna, you have to, I'm going to just like stand up and I'm going to make you come to me. And that's what happened. And he got a grip on his belt. And that as soon as he got a hand on his belt, the match was over. And it was just great to see.
Yeah, there was clearly a large amount of intimidation involved here. And Hakuho is able to do what he did because he is just dramatically larger than Tobizaru. He had way more reach, so it was on Tobizaru to figure out like what to do actively. And Hakuho is perfectly happy to just stand there and make somebody else look foolish trying to figure out a way in,
Yeah. And he can get away with that because he's the Yokozuna. Like, he's just like, hey, I'm the Yokozuna. Like, come after me, Like,
yeah.
He has an intimidation thing of where he's just kind of saying, yeah, you're going to have to make the move on me.
It's not Hakuho's responsibility to win the match to like prove himself. He's like there to stop other people from doing so, right?
Right.
So, Mac, what are your overall thoughts on Hakuho through this first week?
Initially, I was a little hesitant to say that it was a true return to form. It looked like he was just kind of starting off, feeling maybe a little bit on his knee, trying to figure out how much his knee could actually take. But after these past few matches, it may not be the old Hakuho that we know and love and were brought up with, but this is he's still the king, and he's still proving that he is the king, whether it's an amazing leg hook on day 1 against Meisei or just toying with his food that was Tobizaru. This is Hakuho. This is his to lose.
All right. So let's talk about the other guy that is sitting at 8-0, and that is, of course, Teru no Fuji, the would-be Yokozuna. In my eyes, he's not quite as dominant as he was in the last basho. I feel like the first week of the last basho, it was just 2 seconds, and he was shoving the guy off the dohyo and winning the matches. He's got to work a little bit harder this time, but he's showing good defense and good improv skills. I think in particular, I really liked his Kaina Hineri win versus Takanosho. I think it was like day 3 or 4. They're just kind of standing off in the middle of the dohyo, and Teru no Fuji was just able to swiftly grab Takanosho's wrist and pull him down to the ground. I really enjoyed that. What are your guys' overall thoughts? Jake, what's your overall thought on Teru no Fuji through this first week?
That pulling match in particular, I wanted to bring up because what it made me think of, and I'm sure you guys can relate. You remember back like a couple years ago when Hakuho was winning constantly, there would be matches where they're just kind of tied up, and then suddenly the other guy would go flying. Like, you couldn't even really see what happened, and the other guy would go flying.
Yes.
That's what that one reminded me of. Teru no Fuji was just perfectly balanced. He was happy to wait it out, look for his opportunity, and then it's over. Like barely even moved and just sent a guy to the ground, or at least enough to win the match. I thought that was kind of cool, and there are definitely moments that I see Yokozuna level dominance, from Teruno Fuji. I don't know. I think it's weird. It's starting to feel real that he might get it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. What does anybody have any thoughts on the Day 6 Teruno Fuji versus Ichinojo match?
No.
And I ask because it looks like Ichinojo just walked himself backwards out of the dojo.
Not just
Wow,
that,
we've
but
never seen that from him 4 or 5
I was going to say,
I
exactly.
mean,
that is
I don't
just,
know.
that is just a part of Ichinojo sometimes.
yes.
I don't know. I saw some people on Twitter, some like respectable people on Twitter, not randos, just be like, Ichinojo might have been doing a little favor for his friend there.
I don't know.
No, we've seen that before from Ichinojo. It didn't look a little odd compared to when he got hurled out of the ring the previous day. Yes, but him just backing straight out, walking out of the ring, no, we've seen that before.
Yeah,
He's
probably
like,
just
if
lost
somebody
to
said-
Tachi, I bet.
Yeah. If somebody said, "Oh, a guy walked out of the ring backwards and it looked like he wasn't trying," who's the number one guy that comes to mind here? Like, without hesitation, it's
Exactly.
probably talking Ichinojo, right?
That's fair. All right, so I'm going to see if I can start a little debate here. Are there any... God, my cats are just being monsters. Keep trying to come in and out of the room. I'm trying to keep the door closed, and they won't let me. Sorry. How many... Raise your hand if you believe Hakuho will win this basho. All right, we've got Mac, and then raise your hand if you think Teruno Fuji will win.
I guess I'm going to raise my hand.
Okay. Flair, why are you unsure?
I am unsure because I think it's tough because of the two. I would say, like Jay kind of alluded to it before, like Hakuho is like seeming kind of a little bit like a mere mortal this time around. He's had a couple shaky matches where like he just barely won on like just kind of backing up, but he's just barely better. He's just better at the Tawara ballet than the other person. But Teruno Fuji, I guess he had a couple shaky bashos, not bashos, but matches. But I don't know. I feel a little bit more like dominance from Teruno Fuji at this point. And so I guess if it comes down to it, I'm just feeling like the Teruno Fuji's feel more stable than Hakuho at the moment. So that's why I'm kind of leaning towards him.
All right, Mac, try to sway one of us over to your side. Why will Hakuho win this basho?
It's Hakuho. Enough said.
Damn.
I
Okay.
mean,
Excellent counter.
he got me. I am switching sides.
No, it's
I don't know.
you
To
can't
me-
just. Oh, sorry. No, you can't discredit all the history, all of the knowledge, just the ring sense that Hakuho has. Was there a shaky match where he knew he got away with it? Yes, there was, and he knew that he got away with it. You could see it on his cheeky grin. He's like, "I don't know how I did that one, but I pulled that one off." But he recognized it.
Yeah, I feel like that's when Hakuho's happiest, when he gets
Yes.
those bullshit wins. That's when that's what brings Sparks the most joy in his life.
The Day 4 versus Takanosho, right? Is that the
Yes,
one
that one. He's like,
Yeah.
"How? Oh, I don't know how I did that."
Yeah, like
buddy.
Takanosho had Hakuho's back, like right at the edge of the Tawara, and Hakuho was just able to spin around, backpedal, and I think he just pushed Takanosho down to the ground. And so that match was following a Teruno Fuji match where he had some very similar acrobatic saves of his own to keep his perfect record alive. So both of these guys have been tested through the first week, but they are both through the first week unblemished. Let's take a look at who is following them, and it's not a large or impressive group of people. I would say 2 matches back at 6-2. You have Maegashira 10 East Tamawashi,
Excuse
Maegashira
me?
11.
That is former Yusho winner Tamawashi. Still in
You're
the
right. I
race here?
apologize.
Fair.
You also have Maegashira 11 West Koto Nowaka and Maegashira 17 East Ichi Yamamoto. Any chance in hell any of these guys put any pressure on our top 2 guys for the U show?
Maybe.
Mac is shaking his head. Flerick says maybe. Flerick's wrong.
It's just
Tamawashi
what
could
you
play
lose one
spoiler by
match,
rip-
and all of a sudden
Wait.
they're in the Junior show range. So
I-
there's a chance.
I think the only real way that any of these guys influence it is if Tamawashi's in the Yusho race till the end and gets a chance to blow out somebody's elbow.
The Kotonages of death.
Yeah, because I don't think there's any way any of these guys finish with, I'm going to say, more than 11 wins. I think that these guys will top out at 11 wins, and I don't think there's any way Hakuho and Terunofuji both dip below even 13 wins. So I don't think there's a chance anybody other than those top two guys wins. I mean, feasibly, yes, there is.
Yeah, you can't completely count everything out,
but not in Ryan's heart.
But I'm going to.
Yes, fair.
Any thoughts on any of these guys? I think Ichi Yamamoto probably one we would say is most impressive just because he is making his Makuuchi debut. He is the lowest ranked. Oh no, he's Mike Shear 17. I think he's actually the favorite to win the basho.
Oh no,
there you go.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I feel like Ichi Yamamoto is very possibly en route to one of those 10-ish wins fighting spirit debuts, but
yep.
I don't really. Yeah, I think that's probably about the cap for him. Just when somebody new comes in and they're going up against guys that haven't seen him before, sometimes you can get some pretty decent success. I don't think that is going to be a Yusho by any means, but yeah, 10 wins or so, maybe you get surprised. I think that's about as much as he can expect or hope for.
I know we compared him initially. I think it was Ryan who said his style is a lot like Abi's. Mm-hmm. Holy crap. Like, even in the past couple of days, I mean, even when he's fired off right into the Tachiai, I get Abi vibes, especially with those long, lanky arms and just those desperate Supari. I'm like, yeah, this is Abi's style.
Having watched him in the top division, I do think he is more kind of adaptable than Abi was when he was first in Makuuchi. He seems more willing to kind of go for the belt if that's the way that the match is going and kind of flow with the match a lot better than Abi, who's just always desperately like, no, stay away from me, stay away from me, stay away from me. No. Ichi Yamamoto's more willing to engage at the chest and the belt.
You've grabbed my Mawashi. My powers are gone. Like the Saiyan tail.
Yeah.
I think, ironically, by being slightly less good at pushing than Abi, it might make him a better wrestler overall, long term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More rounded. We'll see.
But yeah.
Yes.
All right. Let's talk about some other Rikishi that aren't necessarily in the Yusho race. And unfortunately, Takakesho, he is out as of day 3 with a neck injury. It sounds like he has a herniated disc. It sounds like he suffered that in his day 2 match he definitely suffered it in his day 2 match against Ichinojo. And it sounds like right at the Tachiai, just something hit wrong. Said he felt like an electric shock in his neck. From the articles that I've seen, it sounds like they're just saying 1 month of rest required, but it's a neck injury and a herniated disc. Those could be pretty scary. So hopefully it's something that can be fully healed in just a month, but I'm pressing, F to doubt or whatever.
Yeah. when I was looking through all the comments and stuff, there was one person who seemed to know what he was talking about, and he pretty much said it depends on the injury, on the variance of the healing and stuff. Like, there is a chance if it's like not bad enough, like it could maybe in a month or so. But I kind of agree with you. A little press out to doubt, but hopefully it's gonna be good to go sooner than later.
And looking back at his initial Tachiai with Ichinojo, you can kind of see in like the preceding seconds where he just stops. Like, his whole expression changes, and then Ichinojo just pushes him back just little by little, and then he starts holding his arm. I'm thinking, did he injure his arm? And then it looked like he was having difficulty with one of his legs. Well, with that electric shock, with that pinched nerve, it's like, holy crap, yeah, he lost feeling all on one side, so that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
Did it look to you guys like he was actually like rocked, like he actually lost consciousness or partially for a second there at the end? Because he looked almost completely limp when he was actually falling off the dohyo.
I was trying to get in on his eyes. Like, usually that's when you can tell like really what's going on. And when his eyes went wide and just kind of went a little just unfocused, like his brow didn't change. He wasn't squinting. He wasn't, straining. It was like, there's no one driving. This isn't good. This is bad.
Yeah, it was definitely scary as he went down like on the side of the dohyo after the match. It was just kind of on his hands and knees a little bit, just trying to get back up a little bit. And I mean, we saw something similar with him a year or so ago, where like he went down to the ground and like he was trying to get up and like his arm just gave out repeatedly as he was trying to get out. I have no idea if these are related, but it is interesting. We kind of see two similar things from Takakesho. So yeah, we'll kind of see what happens from there. But something that I did notice with Takakesho's injury and also with Enho, also on day 2, it does seem like there is some better injury response from the JSA. That big wheelchair is being used more often. It was used for Takakesho after his match with Ichinojo. He could get up and walk, and typically in the past we've seen, okay, you can walk, so walk. But nope, they brought out the big wheelchair for Takakesho, so that he was clearly not doing good, and so they brought him back to the back. But also I think day 2 match, Enho versus Takagenji, where Takagenji was basically uppercutting Enho through the entirety of the match. Some nasty shots Enho was receiving, but still came to a pretty close finish, and they declared a Tori Naoshi. But Enho, you could see he was really rocked off of the dohyo. He was talking, I can't remember if he was talking to a Yobidashi or a member of the JSA, but they said it was Tori Naoshi, and Enho was saying, or whoever he was talking with, like, he can't go on, he's too rocked. And so Enho lost that match by Fusen instead of them going through with the Tori Naoshi.
Which was very strange to me, because he very clearly lost the match legit. Did you guys like
so
watch it?
Yeah, I watched it. I didn't know why they were doing a Tori Naoshi there, but
no, Enho, like, he's going backwards, and he pretty clearly steps out with his heel like a second before, the photo finish. I don't know. It was strange to me, but I guess what I'm saying is I'm glad that it's not, nobody got robbed here. Like, Enho definitely lost the match. The fact that he didn't get a chance at a Tori Naoshi, it would have been a weird Tori Naoshi anyways, but it's good that they played it safe, and it's good that nobody got robbed because they got injured. Like that would make it a little bit weird, and I imagine there'd be some salty takes online if a guy won and got injured and they pulled him out. That would be, I'm not saying it would be any more right to let an injured guy wrestle, but like, I can totally see online arguments about if it went the other way around. So I am kind of glad at least that it was a not really all that controversial decision to do what they did.
Yeah, and it's a step in the right direction. I mean, if he wasn't able to fight that match, what are the odds he was really able to fight the next day or the day after?
He lost the next couple days.
Yeah. So maybe would have liked to see him pull out for a few days just to make sure that if he was concussed. But maybe it wasn't that bad. Maybe it was just kind of get rocked in the moment and then not actually concussed. But he was pulled out on the wheelchair as well. So another instance of seeing like a guy who can walk, but it's clearly not doing good in the moment, to pulling out the wheelchair, not forcing them to walk, not forcing them to go up on the dohyo and bow to their opponent in their loss either.
Yeah. It was the interesting situation. The thing that kind of stuck with me is like, I think he did, like, Enho say like to the Yobidashi, like, I think I might be concussed, and then that's when they kind of pulled into stuff. Or did
I'm not sure.
I feel like I feel like the first thing I read is like he said something to the Yobidashi, and that's when he actually when they pulled the whole thing, like, oh, this can't continue, and he got the Fusen loss. I'm a little worried that the fact that he said something led to him losing the match, so he might be incentivized. Rikshi going forward might be incentivized to not say something, like not mention like, hey, I might not be concussed, because they know they're going to lose. Like, I think before, like, there maybe could have been a draw, right? That could happen because of the match. But also, if it's Tori Naoshi and you just think you won't have a chance, you could just say, I might be concussed, and then all of a sudden the match is negated. Is probably not good either. I don't know. There's like seems to be no really good solution to that. So I guess probably the Fusen loss is probably the best, but I don't know.
Adding on to
ahead,
that
Mac.
though, Fleric, when he couldn't get back up into the ring easily when he stumbled and tripped on his way up. I think that further confirmed that, yes, he is concussed, that something isn't right. So I'm completely fine with him getting the Fusen loss, and I'm really happy that it looked like there were some medics, or at least some ringside trainers that met him when he was being wheeled back into the arena. So I'm just happy to see some of these changes, that we're starting to implement more medical practices, about time, but still, I'm happy to see these small steps.
Yeah. I agree this situation is definitely the right thing. I guess I was a little bit kind of like, trying to think out loud. Like, it's not great to be an Enho situation. Because it's like, oh, I said I might be injured and I end up in a loss. But I think that I agree in this situation. I think everything went the correct way of him getting a loss. And, I think in the response of the people coming up to trying to see if he's okay was good too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's best if Enho being pulled out of that match was more something that like the ringside Shimpan saw, and like, oh, he's shaky, let's make sure he doesn't fight in this match, rather than them relying on Enho saying like, oh yeah, no, I don't feel good, I don't want to wrestle in this match. The decision needs to be taken away from the Rikishi in that situation.
Yeah. But I guess the thing I'm pointing out is like, there's not the incentive for the Rikishi to mention that is not there.
We get that. I completely agree.
Yeah, but I think that there's no good solution, I guess, is what I was trying to stumble into saying, but I think, it's like, it's not ideal, but I agree. It should, if they do see something wrong, and hopefully the Rikishi, if they know they're concussed, they would say something and be willing to take the Fusen loss as well.
Yeah. So. All right, so we've got Shoudai, as we mentioned on the preview podcast, that some of us thought there was a good chance he could go Kadoban again after this basho, because we haven't been impressed with him as an Ozeki. He's only 4-4 through the first week. He's still got his toughest matchups, theoretically, with Terano Fuji and Hakuho. We don't 100% know that those matches will happen, but I think kind of what we're seeing, there's probably not going to be anybody else pressuring for the Yusho that we'll need to see Hakuho and Terano Fuji face off with. So it is likely Shoudai will face those guys. And he still has like Takayasu, Mitaki Yumi to face. So there's a very easy path for Shoudai to go Kadoban for the third time in 5 basho as an Ozeki, which would be the first, because he was also the first Ozeki in the modern era to go Kadoban twice in his first 3 basho. So not a great showing for Shoudai. Anybody who let's do another hand raising. Who thinks Shoudai will get Kachikoshi this basho?
No one raises their hand.
That's a big no from the Grand Sumo Breakdown podcast. So we're thinking we're going to have 2 Kadoban Ozeki in the next basho, as well as a demoted Ozeki with Asanoyama dropping down to Sekiwake.
Yeah, I was kind of optimistic on Shoudai. Like, he's fine. Yeah, come on. He's still facing all the top guys. He's doing oh wait, no, never mind. All his hardest ones are still ahead of him. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like Flair's really being vindicated over these past few months of Shoudai.
It's exactly what I expected. So yeah, sure.
All right, and then we have Takayasu, who came back after he pulled out of the first 2 days and then came back. He's currently 4-4, so he's 4-2 on the dohyo, but he has those 2 losses due to his absence. He's already lost his chance to be an Ozeki, because he's not going to hit the 13-2 threshold with a Yusho that Isegahama set for him, and I don't really think we can honestly expect him to really make a hard push to keep his Ozeki run super alive with this one. But Jake, do you think he will at least be Sekiwake after this basho?
I do think so, because he's gone 4-2 on the dohyo, like you said, and that's more important to me. He hasn't shown he's not like obviously injured, like he's not limping around. He's not. It seems like a legitimate comeback, a legitimate I feel better now and I can wrestle and I can do my best. And seeing him wrestle, he just looks like regular Takayasu, like other than the 2 absences on his record, you wouldn't really think anything is all that weird. Takayasu underperforming slightly compared to expectations, not a shocker. So, that's kind of, I don't know. I'm expecting like and maybe 9 wins or something like that. I think he can do it. He does still have a handful of hard matches in front of him. But let's see. So we've got 7 matches left. He needs to win 4 of them. He's got 2 Ozeki and Hakuho ahead of him.
One of those Ozeki is Shoudai, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
what's his record with Shoudai, though?
I think Shoudai actually does pretty decent against Takayasu. 5th member of the podcast, Sumo DB, is currently down for me, so I cannot.
Just a moment.
I have it because Sumo DB picks and chooses. But let me take a look here. Against Shoudai, Takayasu is 9-12. So yeah, Shoudai has the slight lead on Takayasu.
But not as impressive.
Like that. Yeah, I mean it's a pretty even one. So I guess So that one, that one might be a coin flip. Terano Fuji and Hakuho look pretty awesome. Obviously, I don't know. I am expecting him to get 8 wins to 10 wins. I think that he's still absolutely a candidate to play spoiler in the Yusho race.
He better.
Oh yeah, that is update on the prediction series. So might be confused because Fleric had Takayasu as his champ as we left the preview episode, but since Takayasu pulled out of the basho, Fleric decided to switch off of him. That's the wise thing to do. We don't know how long he's going to be out. And went to Mitakayumi, and then Max champ Takakesho pulled out on day 2, right when Takayasu was coming back in. So little underhanded.
How is that underhanded?
I don't know. It feels dirty.
His record lined up. He was out.
It's completely legal. You followed the rules. Nobody objected to it. It still feels dirty.
Yep. It feels slightly rule bendy, Mac.
Yeah.
And you'll
me though. If I can't find a way to bend the rules, I'm not going to do it.
And you're not bending the rules all that well because you're in last place. So,
well, yeah,
we'll allow it then.
Yeah. Let's talk about our newbies at Komosubi, our Komo newbies, if you will. We have Wakataka Kage. Yeah, I'm real happy with that. Unfortunately, it's going to be very rare that we can use the term Komo newbies. As we do have 2 guys that are making their Sanyaku debut in Wakataka Kage and Meisei. Wakataka Kage is currently 3-5. He still has to face Hakuho and both of the Sekiwake. Meisei is doing a little bit better. He's currently 4-4. He still has to face both Ozeki. Once again, asterisk. One of those Ozeki is Shoudai. So, Mac, do you think either, neither, or both will be Komosubi for Aki?
I'm going to say neither. And based off of what's their performances thus far, looking at Meisei's record, one of those wins is a Fusen win over Takakesho. That would demote him down 1 in the ring. I mean, just for actual performance, I don't see it with these 2. And I know Meisei might have a little bit more experience than Wakataka Kage, but I don't see it. I see a demotion.
I think Meisei will stick around. I think Wakataka Kage is 3-5. He could come back and get a winning record. I think Meisei, he is looking good. I mean, a lot of his losses already are to like Hakuho and probably like Mitakayumi. And he did lose to Wakataka Kage. I think he's going to have a little bit easier schedule moving forward. I think Meisei can stick at Komosubi this basho. I hope not. Oh yeah, Mac also has Meisei as his
Meisei's my cheer.
Mac is too invested in these ranks to get an honest opinion.
Okay, well, yeah, take it with a grain of salt. But I honestly like Wakataka Kage and his performance. You won me over in the last tournament where I'm like, okay, I like this guy. I'm getting Hoshoryu vibes from this. I like Wakataka Kage now. Meisei, you can get the hell out.
I guess I appreciate that both of these guys are always fun to watch. That's I know I'm going in with, kind of the waffly, I just hope everyone has fun kind of attitude, but both of these guys are they're kind of wild and that leads to some good TV. That's for sure.
There you go. It's the Marge Simpson. I just think both of these are just neat.
These Komo newbies.
Komo newbies.
And then I think the other guy we definitely want to hit on is Ura.
Yeah.
We want to hit on him in multiple ways. We want to talk about him.
What
we
you
wanna,
doing?
We want to slide up next to him in the bar, buy him a drink. He's 4-4 in his return to Makuuchi. Anybody have any strong thoughts on Ura? Hasn't been the exciting Ura sumo that you kind of expect and want to see from him, but he's been all right.
Thank God it's not the exciting form of Ura Sumo that we have seen with him in the past. Preserve your damn knees, please. We like you. Stay in Makuuchi, please.
We like you.
Yeah. Super like.
He's
you.
like he's
I use my
almost
super like on you.
Fuji levels of like cringing when he goes off of the dohyo, right?
Yeah. Every time him and Hakuho fly off the dohyo, I'm very worried to see them get up. Oh, that reminds me. Do you guys think Hakuho intentionally launched himself into the Shinpan in his match today?
I wrote a note about that.
I honestly think he did. I think he launched him when he was going off the dohyo. I think he aimed for the Shinpan to kind of break his fall a little bit. I honestly think he did.
It's possible. I think while some Rikishi are like, definitely afraid of the Orikata and they like obviously like just dodge from them, like sacrificing their body. Hakuho just did not worry about that at all. He's like, I'm not moving.
Yeah, 100%. He at least did not dodge.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can absolutely see Hakuho being midair and being like, flesh is softer than ground. So yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm pulling it up again in real time so that I can see
the glory that was this midair spear.
I'll finish my thought of Ura in the meantime, which is I'm just happy that he's holding his own, that he's going to stick around. I was definitely afraid that like he gets back and he's going to just like not look the same, not be a Makuuchi level like Rikishi, but he's shown like he can hold his own, he can stick around, and hopefully we get to see some exciting matches throughout his career.
Just not too exciting, please.
Back to Hakuho, I'm at 100%. He used the Shinpan to break his fall. Like he landed on his feet outside of the dohyo, but he was like too far forward, so he was definitely going down. And so he could have thrown himself the other direction, but no, he threw himself right into the Shinpan. God, I love Hakuho so much. Yeah. All right. Quick note on Endo. Maegashira won. He had to go Kyujo on day 5 after a poor start for him. I think he started off 1-3. He injured his biceps femoris muscle, which is part of the hamstring. So they said that requires 3 weeks of rest and treatment. So it's going to be a tumble down the Bansuke for Endo once again, who can never really seem to stay healthy for longer than like 4 or 5 basho at a time. So Endo pulls out with an injury and will take a tumble down the Bansuke. Does anybody else have any Rikishi that they want to mention that we haven't hit yet?
I've been enjoying watching Kiribayama. He is, I don't think he has spun around like an idiot this entire basho, which I think is kind of new for him. And I think that's a positive sign for his sumo going forwards. He really just looks like it's been said many, many times, but he really looks like Haruma Fuji in his build and his style. He's obviously not Yokozuna caliber by any means yet, but he's still pretty fun to watch and less silly, desperate spinning. That was one of the things we noticed in his history when he first debuted, was that he had a bajillion like rear push-outs and rear push-out losses and stuff. So I think it's a good sign that that's not happening all the time anymore.
Yeah, he's definitely had some pretty entertaining and some pretty dominant wins, I would say, from him this basho. So that's been kind of nice to see.
Mac, do you have somebody you've been keeping an eye on? Actually, Takakesho. I mean, looking back at his first few matches, he faced Mitake Yumi. He went up against Teruno Fuji, Hakuho. I mean, yes, he lost those, but he's been on a 4-win tear. He's currently 4-4. Not bad. I mean, I know we've been wanting to see Takakesho go up against these top-ranked guys just to get an idea of his quality and his actual level of performance. I think this is telling. I think we're seeing that cliff that he needs to, start scaling. Like, okay, you're here. Now you need to get up here. And you can see where this next level of performance is. And I think he can rise to meet it. I mean, I enjoy watching his sumo.
What about you, Flair? You got anybody you want to bring up?
Just I guess Hoshoryu. He got a new Mawashi, and he's had some really nice looking matches, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. The other guy I was going to bring up was Hoshoryu. The red Mawashi looks great on him. But yeah, his sumo's been pretty good. 5-3. He picked up a bad loss to Aoyama, I would say today. But he's had some. I think his kind of like pushing sumo has looked a lot better than it has in the past. He hasn't been relying as much on the leg trip techniques. He did get the Sotogake or the Sotogake, I don't quite remember, against Takayasu a day or so ago. But yeah, I've been really enjoying Hoshoryu's sumo. Really seems like he's on a path up the Bansuke, and hopefully we'll stay up there. Let's do quick hits on what's going on in the lower divisions. Abi has been looking real good, but he did pick up his first loss since his return from suspension today. He's in a 3-way tie with Yutakayama and Kaisho in Juryo at 7-1 for the lead there. Enho, as we mentioned, he's 2-6. He's struggling again. It might be a while before we see Enho back in Makuuchi. And then a guy we've brought up in the past down in Makushita, Hokuseiho, he is looking like he could very well be a Sekitori in the next basho. He is 4-0 at Makushita 2 West. He's the only undefeated Rikishi left in the Makushita division, and so he's very likely to be promoted up to Juryo for the next basho. He was Maizumo in just March of last year, and so if he is Sekitori in September, that's only 1 year and 4 months from debuting in sumo to getting to the paid ranks. And he missed a basho due to COVID in there. So this is his only 6th basho, fighting 7 matches. He's 19 years old, but not the fastest this has ever happened. That would go to Jokoryu, it looks like, as he only had 6 basho in sumo before joining Juryo, but still a very elite run we're seeing with Hokuseiho right now. But let's dive into the GSB belt as we are starting over from the beginning. Jake, where is the GSB belt at?
Well, because we're starting at the very bottom again, we're not having a match every day. We've actually only had 4 matches for the GSB belt because it's still all the way down in Jonakuchi. Excuse me. But it started on, it's basically just been shuffling between a few newbies. And it's currently on Kiryuko, who, let me bring up his stats again. He is Jonakuchi 24 East. He won the belt and has defended it 1 time. And he is currently 4-0. So very possible that, our belt is going to end up on somebody undefeated. If it's not Kiryuko, it'll be whoever is undefeated that beats him. So belt is going to hurry its way up through the lower divisions, just like last time. But it's slightly less exciting because, again, we only have 7 matches until we get towards the top when, the belt shuffles around a lot more. So we'll see where it goes. But Kiryuko, just like with our previous iteration of the belt, it'll be fun to watch his rise. If he does go undefeated, that's a new name on our list here. So,
quick update on the standings for Champ Chump. We already went through all of the changes that we've had with people's champs. But the standings currently, Ryan, me, is in first place. I am basically 1 point off of a perfect game so far, as I would assume. I would say, like, if you get 2 points a day, that's a perfect game because you get 1 win, 1 loss a day. I've got 15 because Hakuho is 8-0. Chiyotairyu is 2-6, so I've got 6 points from his losses, but he did lose to Koto Waco, so that's an extra bonus point for me. And then you've got Jake at 13, Flarek at 11, and Mac pulling up the rear at 9. So yeah, it's looking like I'm pretty safe. And Mac, we might have doomed you by wishing your sumo erotica into existence here.
Yeah, if it happens, it happens.
Seems like we're pretty good at calling our shots on who's going to lose these things.
Yeah. I think at this point it's pretty interesting because I have Chiyo No-O as my chump and Ryan has Chiyotairyu. Both of those look perfectly fine picks, but I have Terano Fuji and Ryan has Hakuho for champs. So I mean, as we've been talking about, it's very likely the U show is going to end up on one of those guys. Whoever wins the U show is likely going to have a bonus point over the other. So, Ryan, I don't think either of us is – I think that the two of us are likely to go down to day 14 or 15, and those bonus points are going to decide which of us is our Yokozuna this basho.
Yep, exactly.
Just like Fleric and I in the last basho when we were
And
duking
God
it out
willing-
at the end.
God willing, Takayasu does only well enough to make me happy, but not absolve Mac of sumo erotica.
Let's make it happen, Meisei and Takayasu. You've got Mac writing sumo erotica on the line. So let's go quick into our lightning round, and we start off with who has impressed you the most. We'll start with Fleric.
I forgot how good he is, Hakuho. I just love watching him do sumo.
Mac, Ichi Yamamoto. Bravo.
Jake.
Words out of my mouth. I forgot how good he was, and it's fun to see him at least one more time being this dominant. Hakuho.
Yeah, I've got to go Hakuho as well. You got to love that sly smile. Who has disappointed you the most so far? Jake.
I want to say Takakesho, but the injuries. So I guess what I'm going to go with is Daisho. He's on the side of his pattern where he's completely blowing it.
He won a U show in January.
He's not winning this one.
No. How about you, Mac?
Tobizaru. Come on, dude. That was just pathetic.
All right. What about you, Fleric?
This is disappointment, right?
Yes.
I guess Tochinoshin, just a slow fall down, makes me sad each time.
Yeah. And I'll say Tobizaru as well. Just like, come on.
Come on.
I think it was really smart. He had a plan going into it, at least.
No, he did not.
He had a plan for the start, which was to not engage Hakuho right away. But like midway through the match, when you're still just standing 5 feet away from him, and like you're reaching out your arm and just like very scarily trying to test the waters.
He is just like all of us, like. You can't say like in that same position.
Problem.
You
He shouldn't be like all of us, Fleric.
He's a top-ranked sumo wrestler. You don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Mac, what has been your favorite match of the basho so far?
That would have been on day 2, Okinumi versus Hoshoryu. Amazing belt match, back and forth between the two. Excellent balance. Definitely see the benefits of Kiko. Loved it. Just meat and potatoes belt match.
I'm going to say that Teruno Fuji versus Takanosho match. I just love the ingenuity we're seeing from Teruno Fuji this basho, and that was most you could see that most in that match against Takanosho, where he just grabs the wrist, pulls him down. Beautiful move. What about you, Jake? What's your favorite match so far?
I got to go with a cheeky answer here and say Tochinoshin on day 5, henking Teritsuyoshi, who he outweighs by more than 50%.
Got to get that first win.
He nailed it. He is low key the king of henkas.
Well, he's 3-4 since that henka, so it's working for him. The proof is in the pudding. What about you, Fleric?
It's got to be the Hakuho match. Like, just raw entertainment. Like you said, like there was definitely some kind of like timidness of just kind of scaring, like just pawing at Hakuho. Just kind of like saying, "Oh, yeah, like I'm gonna try to fight you, but I'm kind of really scared." But I don't know. I like it when Rikishi goes into a match with the obvious strategy, which he definitely did. It didn't go his way in the end, but it also showed Hakuho's swagger of where he just kind of stood straight up, saying, "Hey, I'm gonna put myself in a disadvantaged situation. I'm gonna just try to intimidate you into attacking me." It's the exact same thing he did versus Takakesho, like way back when, versus his first match. And it's worked every single time he's done it in professional match that I've seen. So, I don't know. It was stupidly entertaining. I loved it.
All right. I am going to disqualify the Hakuho versus Teruno Fuji match for the most exciting potential matchup. Besides that one, what is your matchup you're most excited for? I'm going to go with Hoshoryu versus Hakuho. Just because I think Hoshoryu, with the amount of injuries we've had, I do think he will be matched up against Hakuho, and not tomorrow. I think day 11, maybe. We'll see if they actually fight. If that happens, that's the match I'm looking forward to most. I want to see Hoshoryu versus Hakuho. What about you, Fleric?
You definitely took
we're all
the match I was
on this one, right?
gonna say.
All of us.
So now we're just which is fair. Is fair. Has Wakataka Kage faced Hakuho yet?
Ooh, no.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that. Wakatake Kage has been kind of a firecracker lately, so I want to see how him and Hakuho face off.
All right, what about you, Jake?
Well, if you're going to take away easy, obvious, absolutely Hakuho Terano Fuji Day 15 match, that is clearly the answer to this question. I'm going to guess.
Yes.
I'm going to say Shoudai and Takayasu, not necessarily against each other, but against Kachikoshi, because those two guys are, friends that I really want to see succeed, and we'll see what happens. But it's likely to be very towards the end when we find out if they're going to stay where they're at.
All right, what about you, Mac?
I'm going to have to go with any Takayasu match moving forward. Be that spoiler. Just be that spoiler. I don't care what you got to do. You do it.
Get those wins.
Get it.
All right, now it's time. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but see if anybody has changed their mind. Fleric, who is going to win this basho?
Terano Fuji.
Mac?
Hakuho.
Jake?
Terano Fuji.
I'm going to say Mac swayed me. I'm going to go with Hakuho.
Yeah. He made a really good argument.
He did.
It's Hakuho.
It's Hakuho. The most interesting man. Just don't go against him.
All right, we've got another batch of compliments for our patrons that we need to get out there. So, Cole Brumley, your laughter brings life into the room.
Don't sound so excited, Ryan. Anyways, Rhiannon, you are so determined that when you set your mind to winning, not even Hakuho can stand in your way.
Rob Shields. If they made a movie about you, it would win an Oscar for most attractive.
Hey, Josh, Rob Nolte, we love you more than our mothers.
And we love our moms.
We do love our moms.
Happy belated Mother's Day, Mom.
Oh, yeah, I think I might have missed it, too.
Yeah.
Obviously, I didn't. I'm a good son.
Yeah, sure.
I think Jake's at his mom's right now.
I am, yes. I suppose it's time we explain this.
Yes, the pan throw is not there, and I don't see the Takayasu banner.
I don't travel without this guy, so I'm podcasting. Obviously, he's sitting next to me.
Yeah.
That's just how it works.
Jorge Lamarca, you are the Yokozuna of GSB fans.
And lastly, Trent, former college roommate. As always, we gotta give you a special one. Trent, you are the tape holding together the knees of our show.
Ooh, the strongest tape around. But that will do it for our Nagoya Basho Midway episode. We'll see how everything goes in week 2. We'll see if anybody can make an ass out of me for saying that Terano Fuji and Hakuho are the locks to win this and nobody else has a chance in hell, despite the math telling me otherwise. So if you enjoyed this podcast, you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast listening service.
You can find us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Search for Grand Sumo Breakdown.
You can check out our blog, grandsumobreakdown.wordpress.com, and help support the show on Patreon. Search Grand Sumo. Yeah, I don't know why we include that. Yeah, you know what to search for. Yeah.
Well, if you don't know what to search for, you can drop us a line at grandsumobreakdown@gmail.com or give us a call at 805-613-7866. That's 805-613-SUMO.
All right, we've got one more week of exciting sumo, and we will recap it shortly after. So we will see you then.
2 quick things before we sign off. One, we did have an email from a listener about some more Ask GSB questions. We did read that. Thank you. We will be including that in a future episode. And Fleric, did you not get the memo?
Oh, about the shirt?
You were there. You knew this.
Yeah, there's no way I'm finding that in time. But apparently I didn't. What the heck? Wow. That's impressive.
Well, why don't we end
done.
it right there? Why don't we end it right there, 9:00 on the dot, which will make Ryan's wife happy.
Done.
We did it.
All right.
All right, where's the end record?
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to Grand Sumo Breakdown. Until next time,
Throw your salt high.
and keep moving forward.